Here's Nvidia's latest graphics card, the GTX 1080 Ti, and today we're going to take a look at how this card compares to other heavyweights out there and also some of the new features being offered. Welcome back to Tech City, and here we have the 1080 Ti Founders Edition, which was sent out as a review sample and features a cooler that separately weighs in at 705 grams and has a 7-phase double VRM that features Fairchild FDPC 8016S dual MOSFETs. They're actually 2 per phase, which helps with power efficiency and thermals, which are rated at 60 and 100 amps at 25 degrees Celsius. And for the chokes, we have NPIM R22s rated at 40 amps, and besides that is tantalum capacitors. There's also a thin backplate to add to the feel of the product and stop GPU sag. Though enough of the technical talk, let's get straight to the benchmarks, where I put the 1080 Ti up against the previous King of the Hill, the GTX 1080, and also 2015's King of the Hill, the 980 Ti. All being overclocked, by the way, so let's take a look at the benchmark rig specs and all the overclocks on the card specified in this video, and then roll some numbers for you guys. So there it is, the GTX 1080 Ti, and at Ultra we really didn't see a huge gain, which was to be expected since we were starting to get some CPU bottlenecks at this resolution. However, when we look at the 1440p ultra-wide benchmarks, that's when the 1080 Ti really starts to shine, with about a 30% increase from the GTX 1080 and about a 55% increase over the Maxwell-based 980 Ti. This card's 3,584 CUDA cores, 11GB of 11 gigabits per second rated GDDR5X really starts stretching its legs, and I imagine that the 35% claim from Nvidia would be about right for 4K gaming. Keep in mind though that I did overclock all these cards, and the GTX 1080 was about 100 MHz faster than the GTX 1080 Ti's 2 GHz overclock. The temperatures were getting a little high overclocked on the 1080 Ti on stock fan settings. However, they were pretty quiet at these settings. Though to keep temperatures down and overclocks higher, one will want to increase the fan speeds, which will make it not as quiet as some of the aftermarket solutions out there, though one benefit to the Founders Edition card is that it will pull air out of the case instead of aftermarket solutions, which will usually tend to dump air inside the case. So the 1080 Ti for gaming is essentially the new King of the Hill, though the card does come in at a steep price point of $700, which may be expensive for a lot of people. However, to be honest, in the GPU market over the last few years we have seen nothing but gains on end, which does leave a smile on this enthusiast's face, and with its performance shown here today does justify the price. Especially when we compare it to the CPU market, where things have been quite slow and gotten really expensive really quickly for a flagship product. Though speaking of flagships in the GPU arena itself, the Titan XP was the card on top, and it does have 96 ROPS versus 88 on the 1080 Ti, and does have more level 2 cache, coming in at 3072 kilobytes versus 2816. It also has 1 GB more of GDDR5X memory and a slightly larger bus, though the 1080 Ti makes up for this with faster memory and actually comes out slightly ahead in terms of max theoretical speeds. Nvidia have also introduced a new technology in their drivers called Ansel, which when I tried it out in Mass Effect Andromeda, I was really impressed. It essentially just pauses the game when you press Alt F2, and then you can zoom in, rotate the camera, change colors and saturation, and get such a unique shot that can really add an additional element of fun to the game. I ultimately ended up really liking this feature, and I think it's a great option for those who like to do a bit of artwork and or thumbnails, for example. It can make for some really cool and unique shots. There's also been another major focus with the release of the GTX 1080 Ti, and that's on DirectX 12, where the API's optimizations come mainly from the game developers and not the driver implementation itself, unlike DX11, where the driver is so crucial. So Nvidia have claimed some massive improvements with recent driver releases, something I will put to the test very soon in a separate video. And they have also recently introduced VRWorks 2, which make for some improvements in VR performance. Though I haven't tested this, nor do I own a VR headset due to getting vertigo when wearing most headsets. And lastly, looking at the outputs on this card, there are 3 DisplayPort 1.4 outs and 1 HDMI 2.0 out, though you may notice that there is no DVI port, which has been removed to apparently help with airflow, though Nvidia does include a DisplayPort to DVI connector to combat this. And lastly, to put everything into context for you guys, the GTX 1080 Ti is quite simply a beast of a graphics card that's mainly intended for the high-end gaming market, with people with monitors such as a 1440p ultra-wide 100Hz display, or a 1440p 144Hz display, or even a 4K 60Hz monitor. These are the type of resolutions where this card will absolutely kick some booty. So anyway guys, let me know what you think of the GTX 1080 Ti and what would you do for one? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below, and I'll catch you guys in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.